The Killzone Trilogy Collection is similar to the Super Mario 3D All-Stars Collection, a bad collection of great games. What do I mean by that? Well, starting off, the whole trilogy is not on one disc like some other collections. Killzone 1 and 2 are on one disc, and 3 on a separate disc. When you boot up the games, they retain their original menus and interfaces from their standalone releases. To me, this looks like they just copy pasted the games onto this collection while having Killzone 1 and 2 on one disc and Killzone 3 on a different disc. And when you insert the first disc into the PS3, Killzone 1 and 2 have different startup selections on the PS3 menu. This is just reinforcing my statement on the copy paste job in this collection. This copy paste job is also the culprit of the missed opportunity that this collection had going for it, the optional motion controls. I know what you're thinking. Motion controls? Fuck motion controls. Motion controls bad, dual analog good. Well, whatever your opinion of motion controls, that's your opinion. Do with it as you please, but at least hear me out on this. I feel like the lack of the optional, and I'm going to say this again, optional motion controls is a big letdown for this collection. I've been playing through Killzone 3 using only the motion controls, and the motion controls feel fantastic. The precision of having to just flick my wrist over to my targets is a lot better than using the dual analog controls of the 6-axis slash DualShock 3 controller. The great thing about, say, the Wii Remote Nunchuck and the PlayStation Move and navigation controller is that they're almost on par with mouse and keyboard. Mouse and keyboard does edge out the Move controller, but the motion controls are very comparable to mouse and keyboard. Given it's a first person shooter, you want to have the best control and aiming possible. And dual analog is not the best for shooters. You can be good with good dual analog. It's just mouse and keyboard, Wii Remote Nunchuck slash PlayStation Move navigation controller is a lot better. So just using the motion control is a lot more precise than dual analog. So the only game that supports the motion controls is Killzone 3 in the collection. Just like the standalone version of Killzone 3. As I've mentioned, this collection is just a copy of the standalone releases and paste them into this collection. And I feel like the lack of the compatibility of the move controls in Killzone 1 and 2 is just another piece of evidence of this copy paste job. Because while I was replaying Killzone 1 and 2 after playing through some of Killzone 3, I thought to myself, how cool would it have been while storming the Sari's Palace is to have this better aiming option while trying to storm this place. Or we're going through the park in Killzone 1 with the sniper rifle. How nice would it have been to have better aiming with the sniper rifle while sniping Hellgast in the park? And on the topic of the motion controls from Killzone 3, you only had like 3 motions slash gestures that you could use. One of them was required, which was the aiming, and the other 2 were optional. Twisting the move controller and doing a stabbing motion forward. The twisting was for the reload, but you could always just use square. And the stabbing forward was for your melee, but you could always melee with circle. So you could really just use the aiming, and that's all the motion you do, is just you move your wrist a little bit and maybe a bit of your arm. But that is pretty much the extent of the motion if you wanted to. I found myself doing the wrist flick being faster than pressing circle, but after doing so many wrist flicks, after a while, my wrist kind of gets tired, and then I'm try to flick the wrist the other way, or just try to press square. The motion controls in Killzone 3 that when you was using the move and the navigation controller, 2 of them were optional and 1 of them was required. So the motion controls weren't all that intrusive. when you really think about it. They gave you options with the motion controls. Another thing that was a bit of a letdown for this collection is the lack of the 3D feature in Killzone 1 and 2. But it would be kind of neat to have like the 3D effect in 1 and 2. But I'm at the point where it's like, because like on the 3DS, most of the time I have the slider off unless I really feel like it. Like I enjoy the 3D effect on the 3DS, and I'm sure the 3D effect in 3 would have been awesome, but I don't have a TV that does 3D, so it's not going to break my heart or anything to not have the 3D feature. But the motion controls is definitely the big letdown here. How would I improve this collection if Sony or Guerrilla Games decide to re-release it? Well, first off, I definitely have all 3 games on one disc, like Halo, the Master Chief Collection, Sly Cooper. Also, I'd have a totally new menu system that connects all games together. You have your options for all 3 games under one tab. You have um, your calibration for the motion controls. You have your campaigns list for each game. But since it's 2021 and most people on PlayStation don't really give a shit about motion controls, especially that of a similar style with the Wii Remote Nunchuck, they probably go, get that away from me. Hell, even gyro aiming, they're like, get that away from me. But gyro is actually pretty good. And to have that as an optional feature along with the PlayStation Move would be pretty cool too. But I have a feeling that if they do a Killzone Trilogy re-release, they'd probably implement all the motion stuff to a VR version. But I definitely have the motion controls in a VR version. And if they do end up doing another Killzone Trilogy, I definitely recommend them doing a overhaul of the first Killzone's graphics. Because in the collection, they just made it look better and run better. Because it's technically Killzone HD in the Trilogy Collection for PS3. So, to wrap things up, basically, the Killzone Trilogy Collection is a terrible collection, but with fantastic games. But the lack of additional features other than HD and better frame rates and trophy support in Killzone 1 is a bit of a letdown. And also the lack of motion controls in 1 and 2 was also a letdown. So hopefully when Guerrilla or Sony decides to redo this collection, they do better. Alright? So, thank you for watching. You have a nice day.